Hi, this is Mr. Guy, and I'm going to be going over the powers of the national government, and I'm going to start with Congress, then I'm going to go to the President, then I'm going to go to the Supreme Court. But these are the delegated powers or the enumerated powers. They're actually listed, and you can see them point blank. They're numbered in Article 1, Section 8, and then also in Article 2, and then in Article 3 of the Constitution. So I'm going to do first the powers of Congress. First one is the power to tax. Second is the power to borrow money. The third is the power to regulate immigration and naturalization. The fourth is to regulate interstate trade and foreign trade. Fifth is to coin money and set weights and measures. The sixth is the punishment of counterfeiting. 7 is the establishment of post offices and post roads. 8 is the promote arts and sciences with patents and copyrights. Number 9 is establish lower courts below the Supreme Court. 11 is declare war, and I'm sorry I missed 10. 10 is actually define and punish piracies and crimes on the high seas. Again, 11 is declare war. 12 is to raise and support an army. 13, maintain and provide a navy. 14, make rules to regulate the army and the navy. 15, call forth the militia and repel invasions and put down insurrections. 16, organize and maintain and discipline the militia. And 17, make legislation and run the Washington, D.C., which is the seat of our government. And 18, make all laws necessary and proper to execute the foregoing delegated or enumerated powers. So in this case, the example is the federal government they have the power to tax, and they have the power to borrow money, and they have the power to coin money and set weights and measures. So the implied power is they have the implied power to set up the First National Bank or the Second National Bank or even the Federal Reserve. And the Supreme Court's, through the rulings McCulloch versus Maryland, said that there is implied powers and setting up a bank was constitutional. Now we go to Article 2 and the President. The President has fewer powers, but they have basically the power to execute laws, so that's their main function. Then they can grant pardons, reprieves, and commute sentences. Then they can appoint justices. They can appoint ambassadors. They can adjourn Congress when Congress can't determine, the Senate and the House can't decide on a date. The President can decide that for them. They can call forth a special session of Congress if there's an important emergency, like after 9/11 or World War II. You have a declaration of war, and you want to get both houses of Congress together. Also, they can basically do the State of the Union and make treaties. So I missed the make treaties part. So they can make treaties, and they can also do the State of the Unions once a year. So those are the powers of the President. And then finally, Article 3, powers of the Supreme Court, is basically to declare a law or an executive order unconstitutional. Now, technically, there is no judicial review listed in the Constitution. In the Constitution, the Supreme Court was given appellate jurisdiction and original jurisdiction, and judicial review was decided by the Supreme Court in Marbury versus Madison. And we'd like to say that the Supreme Court does not make laws. What they should do is make the law unconstitutional or order unconstitutional, and the Congress or the President has to fix it. That doesn't seem to be happening today, where the Supreme Court is putting down a law and saying it's unconstitutional, but the legislature is not going and making it right or making it better. So in ex post facto, they're basically making laws. So those are the powers of the national government. There's roughly 18 for Congress. Depending on how you divide them, 5 to 8 for the powers of the President, and basically 1 for determining whether an executive order or a law is unconstitutional. And that law could be state or federal. Thanks a lot and have a good day, and hopefully this makes sense. Bye-bye.